How you doing? We are live today in the Pro Singer Success Collective, and I wanted to talk to you today about how to use body alignment to get a more resonant, more powerful sound. So, as you guys all know, your whole body is your instrument, not just your vocal cords. Okay. So, to that end, how you live in and use the entirety of your body really affects the sound that you're going to get. And so we were this past week on our live in-person retreat with singers in our intensive training program. We do it once a year. It was amazing. We had 14 fantastic singers in this beautiful retreat house in Colorado. And the reason I'm telling you this is because the one thing that they kept telling me that was just like blowing their mind was how much when we were together in person and I had like hands on their body, making the tiniest of adjustments that, by the way, I tell them all the time when we're working virtually on Zoom, but because they could like literally feel my hands on them, and it's such a subtle difference, they were able to gauge such a massive shift in their ability to make a really powerful sound throughout the entirety of their whole range with ease. And that's the key, with ease. So here's something that I want to just kind of show you on my own body. So most of us have a habit in our body, whatever that is. So I'm going to kind of go sideways here so you can see my body habit. And if I am not thinking about it, my body habit is this. Now it's not like horribly like this, you know what I'm saying? But it's my rib cage, the bottom of my rib cage, like, move my chair. It's the bottom of my rib cage, just a little bit like in, which then juts my head a little bit out. Okay, so if I'm like not thinking about it, that's my habit. But that really messes me up when I sing, if I'm not present to shifting the body habit, because of two things. Because the base of the rib cage is then this way, cutting into the diaphragmatic area, okay? And that has obviously an adverse effect because I don't have full access of that dome-shaped diaphragm to then fully descend, because my ribs, if you think of the ribs as like a cube, like here's the front, this is the corners of the cube, the sides of the cube, and then the back of the cube, right? Like the bottom front of the cube is in, okay? And that impedes the diaphragm, okay? So one of the things that we did a whole lot of when we were at the retreat was just the singers who had this issue getting acquainted with what it feels like to tilt that cube ever so slightly. So instead of me being, my chair again, instead of me being like a little bit like that, where this is like in, I'm thinking about like lift this cube going like this. And it's not to shove my chest out. It's not to do that. That will mess you up in all the ways back here. So leave your lower back where it is and to gently pull the base of the ribs up off your diaphragm and the back part of the ribs down. So this cube now is not like this, it's like this. And that has a huge effect on your ability to, number one, breathe the most effective way, get the most amount of air with the least amount of effort when you inhale. And then also, it has a huge effect on, once you're supporting, how you're able to use your diaphragm effectively because the bottom of the rib cage is not impeding that. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is when we have that issue, it tends to, so this is me in my corrected alignment, right? Tilting my cube of my ribs this way. When I'm not, watch what happens to my neck and my head. Now I'm getting tension and closure back here and here, and tension here, okay? So you'll notice immediately what happens when I tilt the bottom of my rib cage just a little bit up. So if I'm in my habit here, Now, if I'm going to tilt the cube of my rib cage and I'm going to lift the front up and the shoulder blades down the back, you see what happened to my head? Okay. So like massive problems for singers who are in this alignment. And now you're trying to sing a high note and you're, and it's like, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't sound good. It's unsustainable. Tension, strain could lead to vocal injury. So my ability to keep the bottom part of my rib cage a little up and the back part of my rib cage a little down, okay? Now I'm aligned in my head and my neck area. So when I employ my support, if I'm in chest voice, this makes it hard. If I'm closed here, tucked here, jutting out here, like none of the things that I would otherwise have in my toolbox when it comes to my support are going to work for me. So I would intellectually understand what I'm supposed to be doing with all that, but none of it is going to be able to show up for me in the way I really need it to, because my alignment is completely out of whack. Okay. So when it comes to understanding your technique, you guys, as you know, when it comes to breath support, when it comes to resonant shape in space, your technique doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists inside the container of your body. So really getting to understand the habits in your body that could otherwise prevent the technique from showing up, technique that you otherwise understand, is a huge part of it. Now, we talk a lot about mindset in this tribe too, because your thoughts affect what happens to your body. So you might just have a physical habit that's not coming from any mindset piece, that is this kind of like thing that's just like your habit, whatever, right? But you may also be someone whose physical habit was created by a mindset piece. And what I mean by that is, if you are somebody who has had a lot of negative messaging around being seen and heard, for example, let's say in your family it was not safe to be heard, or let's say that your goals, your desires, the things that you were up to when you were growing up were never good enough, right? And so that lives in your body. So now you go into an audition and you're carrying that in your body, where it's not safe to be heard. Maybe everything that you desired, that you were up to, got shot down. And so it's not safe to be heard. Or perhaps it's not, I'm talking emotionally safe, right? Like emotionally safe to be big and claim your body and claim your energy and claim your space, because every time you did, you got shot down for it. You got judged for it. You got made fun of for it, let's say. And so my body learned that that's not a place that we want to be. So now you come into an audition and you're going to be here. Don't look at me. You're going to be here without like realizing it. And that not only affects the power that you wield to claim your space, to claim your sound, and to own the space on that stage, which is exactly what the auditioners want to see. It also affects your sound in all the ways I was just telling you, because now you're here. Now you're in don't look at me, but your bottom of your rib cage is interfering with your diaphragm. All of this tension is interfering with the open channel of energy that we would need in the resonant space. And so now, pardon the expression, you're screwed from both ends, in the breath, in the resonance, and not because you didn't know any better in technically, right? Like the singers who were just on retreat with us, they understood. They work with me all the time. They get intellectually what they're supposed to be doing. And yet, sometimes there are these little micro adjustments, things that we learn in our bodies that when we do them, just now all of a sudden have a huge effect on the bang for your buck, so to speak, that you can get out of your efficient technique. So my invitation to you guys today is to get to know your habit. Like if you don't video yourself practicing, you're missing out. You are missing out. So like we record all of our studio classes, for example, for the singers who are in our intensive training program, and they are coached on how to watch them and the necessity for watching them, right? Because most of you, you're so in your habit, you don't even see it. You don't even see it. Like, you guys want to know something crazy? So I've been working on my physiology a lot, like through exercise and other things, rolfing, acupuncture. It's just a lifelong for me journey of comfort in my own body. And one of the things that I learned from watching myself sing, this is like 10 years, this is a long time ago, 10 years ago, is that I was always a little bit here. Do you see how my head is like, just like a little bit here? I never noticed that. I have to come back to normal. I never felt that because I was so tense on one side that I was actually pulling my head slightly to the left. And I couldn't feel it because it was my normal. I couldn't feel it because it was my normal. But I watched myself several times. I'm like, why am I always like this? And so then I started to become aware of it. And I stretched and I did other physical things, right? You guys, it's a process, right? Of not just your vocal technique, but also other body work things that maybe you might need. Not everybody does. I did. I needed to do some rolfing and some acupuncture and stuff. And like now I can be center and I can sing center, and center feels normal to me and that doesn't. But get to know your habits. Video yourself when you're practicing and video your performances. Watch yourself. Look at your posture. I hate the word posture. I'm going to say look at your alignment, because posture implies, like in Catholic school, stand up straight. But that doesn't help you because that's tension, versus like your alignment of me lifting my heart space, opening my cube, feeling my shoulder blades slide down my back. My back is a very different feeling than posture, right? So look and see how is your physiology? How is it affecting your ability to breathe, to claim space, to claim full resonance and full power out of your sound? Also, how is it affecting you from claiming impact, right? I mean, you watch the competition shows like Idol and The Voice and stuff like that. How many times have you watched somebody walk out to that mic on the stage and they haven't even uttered a sound, and they're going to suck? Not because of anything other than they are apologizing for their performance before they have even uttered a sound, because they're all like, they have no impact in their energy, right? And so that matters. So observe your physiology, the energy that you're throwing out when you practice, when you perform. Observe from a place of data. Not drama. Don't make judgment out of it. Don't hate on yourself, make yourself bad, wrongs, whatever, because of it. Is data that you can then use to up level. Okay. So get acquainted with what are your physical habits. I'll tell you another one of mine just to show you how this stuff is like. So I grew up, before I was a singer, I was a ballet dancer, not professionally, but until I was 15. That was like, I did a ton of ballet. And for ballet dancers, so I wore my yoga pants so you can see. For ballet dancers, everything is very tucked up and pulled up and contracted for balance. You need this for core balance, okay? But what that created in me is that when I wasn't dancing and I wanted to relax, so my ballet posture being, right, I would go like this. Do you see what I just did? Like massive sway back, okay? And that is super detrimental for singers. And I was singing at the time too, but that was my habit through my 20s until I noticed this. That's so detrimental for singers to be here. You see all this massive curve in my spine, this like sway backy thing. So I would be here in front and I would be here in back. It was a mess. And that's problematic because, as you know, you breathe into your back. And if this is cocked up, you're cutting off all of that freedom of that lung that needs to be able to freely expand downward and outward as you inhale. So once I figured out how to get out of that habit, learned some stretches to be able to loosen that part of my body so that I can stand now straight without that sway back, I get so much more freedom and air, and I'm able to use my support a lot better too. So again, you guys, my invitation to you today is to start to get acquainted with your habits of how you live and move in your body when you are not singing. because they show up when you are singing too. It is what it is, but you have to learn that and you'll see it. And then you can start to take action to start to inhibit it so that it's not going to show up when you sing and prevent you from accessing the full power of your technique, accessing the full impact power of your support of all of that in performance and even in rehearsal, even when you're practicing on your own. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to bring to you today. I see Stavros has a question. Tips for tongue tension and excessive airflow pushing when singing. Well, Stavros, that's like two entirely separate conversations. So I'm going to invite you to, because I see you're watching on YouTube, if you Google on my YouTube channel, tongue tension, I think like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, recently, I did a live on tongue tension, and you will see I've done a couple videos about tongue tension over the course of the last year or two, so you can absolutely find those. Excessive airflow and pushing, that if you're experiencing excessive airflow and pushing, and this is not just for Stavros, this is for everyone, it is a clue that your breath support is not working. It's not working correctly. And so I would encourage you, Stavros, again, I have so much content on breath support. It is one of the things that, if I do say so myself, I am really good at coaching. Those of you who know me here, I see Danny's here, Catherine's here, Rico's here, you know that I am really good at coaching breath support. And so I have a lot of content also on my YouTube channel. If you look at the video on Appoggio, Appoggio, and breath, I mean, just put breath support into my channel. There's so much content. But the reason that I'm hesitant to just get into it right now is because it's like a whole nother like training, which is, there's so much content on that you can dive into to get a lot of that. But if you're experiencing airflow and pushing, just know that it means that your breath support is not working. And odds are you are pushing in instead of flexing out. Like that's the nutshell. But there's lots of tools around how to do that, how to allow that to work for you instead of being in the habit of contracting those muscles of support instead of pushing those muscles of support. So yeah. So back to alignment, guys, for today. Just start to notice how your alignment works. Video yourself, look at yourself, watch yourself as you walk, have your friend video you or your roommate or your spouse or whatever. Put up a tripod, do your vocal exercises and watch the video. What are you doing? I have a singer who reaches every note, mama, and she doesn't feel it because she's so used to it. She doesn't feel that she's messing with her alignment to do that. Just in the same way that I didn't feel that I was doing this because it was part of my habit. So get acquainted with that. I see Tordis is watching. Tordis was on the retreat with us. She's one of our singers in our Singers Alliance program. And Tordis were talking all about body alignment and how the tiniest little thing, how you guys were just so blown away by how much the one little shift in your body when you're singing makes a huge difference in the technique that you understand being able to just hook in for you. So she can speak to this because she was there. But point being, you can't shift something that you're not aware of. So that is my invitation for you guys for today from this live for this week, is to get some data around what your habits are. Don't also, because video is fantastic for this, don't just video face on, right? So you can be videoing yourself singing your audition song or doing some vocalises face on, and then turn to the side. And I guarantee you're going to see this, or you're going to see this, or you're going to see this, right? Some things that you can't see straight on. And so again, do this with compassion, with the mindset of I'm just getting data. I'm just getting data. I'm not going to make myself wrong, bad, whatever for it, because then when you get the information, then you can start to understand what you need to do about it. Okay. All right, you guys, this has been awesome. go get on your alignment today and start to notice a difference, and post here what you found. If you want to, if you have questions, if you're unsure, just respond in the comments here. And if I have any clarity for you, I'm happy to respond in the comments. All right, you guys, mwah, mwah. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you back here live next week. Okay, bye everybody.